Good evening, everybody. Great to see you all here. As was indicated, I'm Ewout de Wit. I'm the Consul General of the Netherlands here in Bangalore, responsible for South India since August last year. Our consulate is focusing mainly on economic diplomacy, but we also try to do some other activities once in a while. This weekend, it will be Human Rights Day, 10th of December. The international community observes Human Rights Day to mark the day that the Universal Declaration of Human Rights was adopted in 1948. And around that time, we try to do something with a theme related to human rights and the pursuit of justice. In the Netherlands, every year there is a documentary festival called Movies That Matter, where international documentaries are shown that have an angle related to human rights, sustainability, and justice. They offer Dutch embassies all across the world the opportunity to show some of the documentaries. And this is, Mama Bears is one of the documentaries that was in the Movies That Matter film festival this year. I don't think it's a Dutch documentary. I think it's an American one, but because the link is with the Dutch Movies That Matter festival. We are screening Mama Bears tonight, which is, I haven't seen the documentary yet, but I understand it's a story about love. It's about conservative Christian mothers in the US who have a deep love for their LGBTIQ+ children and have had to face a lot of challenges, losing contact with their faith community, with friends, with family, by siding out of love with their children and trying to combine it with their deeply held beliefs. I think an interesting story, and I'm happy that together with We India Pride, we have managed to get some Indian Mama Bears here to talk a little bit about their experience tonight. A big applause as Indian parents of LGBTIQ+ children, and how you have managed this situation. So I'm looking forward to that discussion. Thanks to BIC, Bangalore International Center, for providing us with the venue. It's always a pleasure to be here, and we are always well taken care of. So appreciation to you, to We India Pride, our partners in this, and then I will give the floor to my deputy, Anne Kremers, who will moderate the panel discussion, and afterwards we will watch the documentary together. Thanks again for coming, and yeah, looking forward to a nice, informative evening. Thanks.
Thank you, Ewout. Very good to see all of you here tonight. Very well welcome also on my behalf. And we don't have that much time, so I would already like to invite our Mama Bears on stage for a panel discussion. So, ladies. Let's see if the mic works. Yes, it does. Thank you all for being here tonight with us. I'm very happy to see you in real life. We've been in touch over the last couple of weeks, over Zoom, over WhatsApp, but it's very good to see you here personally tonight. You made it from Mumbai, from Hyderabad, from Bangalore, from Mysore. So very happy that we have you here tonight. We have around 50 minutes for the panel discussion. And I also want to give a chance afterwards to the audience to ask some questions you might have, so there will be an opportunity for that. I would like to start with your stories about how you have overcome the difficulties that might come with having a child belonging to the LGBTI community, facing discrimination, facing adversities, but conquering and being here on stage with us tonight. As a start, I would like to ask you to very briefly introduce yourself by stating your name, where you are from, and one line about the child that has made you into a mama bear. So if I can start with you, Nilakshi.
Good evening, everyone. As Annie already said, I'm from Mumbai. I'm Nilakshi Roy, and my child is Koninika. She identifies as bisexual, and she is currently living happily with her partner, the partner's mother, and a cat. So she has finally found her family, and I was most anxious when I came to know about her when when I thought that she wouldn't find a family, and that is not something that has happened. So that is one very big takeaway from my past and connecting it with my present. I am a retired professor of English in a Mumbai college, from a Mumbai college, and I have another daughter who is cisgender, heterosexual. And of course my husband, who is also very supportive of my younger daughter and the elder one. I have a very strong family connection with my sister and my sister-in-law and their families, who are also very supportive. So that in a nutshell is an introduction about myself. I'm also a Swikar rainbow parent.
Very good. Thank you so much. We will dive into the Swikar parent group, which is where we found most of you later on. Thank you, Nilakshi. Padma, can I ask you to introduce yourself?
Yeah. I'm Padma Iyer, and my son is Harish Iyer. I wouldn't call him a child. He's almost 44 now. But I'm thankful to him. He introduced me to such a beautiful world of this LGBTIQ community, which I wasn't knowing before all this, And I feel so safe and so happy to be here in this place. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Padma. Anita, go on.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Anita Prasad. I'm right now residing in Mysore, travel to Bangalore almost every day. And my office, V India, is in Cunningham Road, very close to the city center, the Vidhan Sauda as well. I lived in Germany for about 23 years, and I made 2 company exits. And I basically having a mechanical engineering background, and I was running a company in, with Airbus and many other related activities in automobile engineering and design. And I came out in 2019, just before the COVID, and I am a father to an 18-year-old girl, and she is still in Germany and studying there. This is a short introduction. We'll converse much more, and I reserve this time for discussing much more informative session further. Thank you.
Thank you, Anita. Lovina.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Lovina Rangel. I'm based in Bangalore. I am also a part of Rainbow Parents with Swikar, but largely here today as a Rainbow sibling. My brother is a member of the community, but he's also disabled. So from that experience, I also come as a very strong advocate of diversity and inclusion in society, as well as the corporate world. I think we'll talk more about that later, and I'll pass this on to Janaki.
Thank you. Janaki. Trying to pronounce your name. You've been teaching me and I still do it wrong. Janaki.
Right.
Janaki.
Correct. Yeah, good evening, everyone. I'm Janaki Ravi. I'm from Bangalore, and my daughter, Ananya, she identifies as a lesbian. And I'm part of the Swikar Rainbow Group. I've also been in the education sector for the last 25 years, and very happy to be here. Learned a lot from the other parents and from my own daughter. So it's been a great place to be in. Yeah.
Thank you.
I am Mukundamala from Hyderabad, mother of trans child. I am also a member of Swikar Rainbow Parents Group and founder of Queer Bandhu Parents Association and member of Telangana State Transgender Welfare Board. And my child she did her medicine in India. While doing medicine, she couldn't survive. So she decided to leave our country and went to Europe. There she did MS gerontology. Now she is doing PhD, almost done. She is about to submit her paper on gerontology on LGBT aging.
Thank you very much. As you can tell, we have a really wonderful group of mama bears here together on stage. Let me start with asking some questions to all of you, starting with Padma. Padma, you have helped a lot of parents of LGBTI children through your work with Sweekar Parents. Can you tell us a little bit about that association? What does it do and why is it necessary to have this group?
This group was formed way back in 2014, right? I forget dates, I'm sorry. 2017. Yeah. So 2017, we 10 parents came together to form this. 10 parents came together to form the group of Sweekar the Rainbow Parents. Then today we have a strength of 400 plus parents all over India and abroad too. So the main purpose of having this group is because when I came out as a parent, I didn't know where to turn to. I didn't know whom to talk to. And we thought, this was an idea of Sridhar Rangayan. He had made a film, Evening Shadows, and with the crowdfunding money, he started this group, and with 10 parents. So we knew where to turn to. So we were like inviting all the parents together. And slowly and steadily, today we are here with 400 parents. So the main purpose is we speak to the parents, counsel them. So once they are into the group, initially they feel they are the only ones having such child, But once they are into the group, they come to know that there are far, more children who are much in a very bad condition than their child. So they slowly start accepting the children. So that's how we do our work.
Thank you so much, Padma. Thank you for sharing that story. Maybe another question for you. You have actually placed India's very first gay matrimonial ad in a newspaper, which I think is a beautiful story. Can you tell us what has led you to do that and what were some of the responses that you've received?
No, the idea of forming, I was always worried about my child. The only thing worrying me is that who will look after him after me? That's, I think, all the parents worry about it. Neelakshmi may not, because her daughter has found a partner, but not many are without partners, and they always, all parents have that group in that thought in their mind, how their child is going to cope up after the parent is not there. So I kept on telling him when there any, the group community itself, if there were any site which has got this gay matrimonial. He said no. Then the thought came into my mind, why not put it in a newspaper? So it just started as a thought, and we went to three newspapers. They all rejected us, saying it's not legal. Times of India took money for the ad. Then later on they said, sorry, it's illegal, we can't do it. Then in Midday was the paper who finally put up that ad. And overnight, my whole world turned upside down, The whole next day itself, it became so viral. And people were after me, asking so many emails, so many, more than the emails, I found letters coming from all foreign countries who I felt was very safe place, In fact, I was telling my son, why don't you go, leave India and go? Because foreign place, they all are accepting. But that was not the case. I got so many mails from all the foreign America, other places, where say, you have accepted your child, but my parents hadn't accepted me. Today I am 50, and still I'm single, and living a life of misery. So those things, really hurt me a lot. So, bas, we placed that, and I did get to meet many suitors, but nothing came out of it. He couldn't. But the main purpose was, it was a discussion among the community. And people started waking up to things. Such things can happen.
You broke boundaries with it, so I think that something came out of it, definitely.
Yeah,
thank you.
Definitely it came out, something had to come out, though he didn't find anybody. Still he's single. So anybody wants to connect with him, please do so.
Thank you. Fantastic. There's a possibility to exchange numbers after we finish the documentary. Maybe moving on to Anita. Papa bear, mama bear. When I said it to you said, actually, I think I'm just a teddy bear, which I also like. Can you share a little bit about your story of how it was for you to come out, not only, transitioning from male to female, but also from father to mother or anything in between? How has it been for you?
It's been a very difficult journey, though. So I'm basically having my parents, and I also have my child. So I'm basically a patty in a burger. So both directions I've been chewed all the time. So yes, coming out with the parents were not so easy because they belong to a different generation altogether. And when I go into my younger kid, of course, I'm also dealing with my spouse. She is also from a different generation. And reaching to a Gen Z completely, it's a completely different exposure and experience altogether. She always used to say that, I come from a Paleolithic era. So simple. So she says, I'm too old for this kind of a generation. And, this generation is like, okay, you are about to go. So there's always this kind of difference. If you notice in India, we have in Hindu Dharma, we have something called as Varna Dharma Shastra. So there are 4 Varnas that the people practice. So it's basically because they just want to keep people away after a particular time period. And then nowadays, we send people to universities. So this is the only difference. We tell them that, please go and, you can enjoy your time and whatever. So, of course, they do have a lot of awareness and information. My daughter is completely educated. She's already almost like 18 years. And, there's no harm. And she accepted me the first time when I came back and, I told her that I'm suffering with a health illness, a real problem. And I was frequenting to hospital, traveling in ambulance, and I knew every corner of the hospital in Germany, a couple of them at least minimum. So they said, okay, no issues, I accept you. But my spouse had an issue. So that's where she had to join my spouse and leave me alone. That's the only difference. So that's the Papa Bear.
Thank you, Anita, for sharing this very personal story that you've embarked on a couple of years ago. Maybe we can go over to Luvina now. I think, Luvina, you can also share something about how families deal with these issues. You have a brother who identifies as gay, so you have seen your parents dealing with him. Now you have a child yourself who belongs to the community. Can you tell us something about the generational differences that you see in your family?
I think, first of all, when you say generation, I think when my brother just came out to me, he came out to me after he came out to my younger sister. And my brother is 10 years younger to me. So when he reached out to my sister before me, I think the first thing that I felt was a sense of betrayal. I felt, how could he go to her before coming to me? And the thing was, it was safest with her because he felt that I was his second mother. And quite true, I think, because he's very close to my mother. And my mother still just skips over the word when we have a conversation. So she loves him, she lives for him in many ways because he's also deaf, he was born deaf. So there's a sense of protection that's there. But there is also the conservative Catholic family that we are from that doesn't allow her to understand, not because she doesn't want to, but because she doesn't know how to. And I think we, in a way, understand that as well, because none of us were educated in the language of inclusion. None of us were introduced to the language of any kind of difference or accepting it. In fact, we just grew up feeling that we are normal, we are accepted, and that's how it is. So anything besides or anything apart from us is just not done. So initially, when I had to ask myself what I feel about my brother's choice, it was a no-brainer. For me, the generational difference was not quite existing because I loved him as a sister. But thankfully, and I say thankfully, when he did come out to us, my father had died. That would have been a completely different story. I think my story today would have been very different had he come out when my father was alive, because I don't know how he would have taken it. He was very stern, very strong. I think, he wouldn't have understood. He might have surprised us by being understanding, but I don't know. And given all the other people in that generation, I think he safely came out when he felt he was safe after my father died. I still feel that I, like Anita, I'm sandwiched between generations, between my parents and between my sibling, who's that much younger. And I think as someone who's coming out and being vulnerable to share who he is, I think he's lucky to have someone like us who says, be who you are. And that doesn't make us any greater. It just makes us realize that we love the person in front of us for who they are than what they choose to be or who they choose to love. And coming to my daughter. So my daughter is questioning, I think, at best, And I think that's the generational difference. And I allow her to be that way because the current generation they know who they are. They're also receiving a lot of information which puts them firmly in the box of questioning. Many of them know, like everyone from the community would agree, they know who they are, they know what they feel. But they're also overwhelmed with a lot of information that maybe sometimes makes them question. So I feel that by allowing her to be in the space of questioning is respectful for her. So when she came and asked me once, Mama, what would you do if I told you I was a lesbian? And I said, can I answer that tomorrow? And I think that was honest for me because I really wanted to sit with the question and give her an honest answer the next day rather than give a knee-jerk response today and turn around and betray her tomorrow. So I went back to her the next day and I said, I think I would love you either way. And she's like, are you sure? I said, yes, I'm very sure. And that was a couple of years back. So that's why I say she's firmly in the box of questioning. She still asks me every now and then, and I still believe that no matter what she comes up with tomorrow, I will still love her because I love her. She's my daughter, as are my 2 other children. So I've got 3 children. And whatever choice they make, provided they do love and respect someone and they have someone who loves and respects them, is where we'd be accepting. And I think that is the generational difference that we see where we have the ability to verbalize and speak to our children. And that's an opportunity, I think.
Thank you very much, Lavina. Beautiful answer. Maybe I can turn to Mukunda and you can share a little bit about your story. You're the founder of Queer Bandhu Association, if I pronounce it correctly. Can you tell us why you started this organization?
I tell you why I started this. When I started working with these community children, I heard many, many pathetic stories, like, discrimination from parents. Like house arrest, keeping them in one room, not giving food, beating them, all these things, Then I started announcing my phone number in all pride events on stage. But still nobody was coming forward to talk to me. Then I decided I'll have to do something. I'll have to register one form for parents. That's how I started Queer Bandhu Parents Association. And activities, we did a lot, but we don't have that much time to explain here. Major points I'll tell you. During COVID, we started along with other collectives from the community. We started working with both central and state government. Central government, what we did, during Corona, these trans children, they can't take vaccination because they don't have any proof document. That's how we spoke to Ministry of Social Justice. Within 3 days, they sent circular to all chief secretaries in India. That's how they got vaccination without Aadhaar card. Coming to Aadhaar card. We are all having Aadhaar card, but these children, they can't get Aadhaar card because they don't have any proof document. Because they didn't include transgender ID card in Aadhaar portal. We did communication with Uday, Delhi. We personally went, met them. In 6 months after following up, they included transgender ID card in Aadhaar portal under 28 point. Now all children, they are able to get Aadhaar cards. Same way we did for even passport. My child, to come from US, it took 3 years because of transition and difference in passport. 3 years it took. Then we approached Minister of External Affairs. We did lot of communication, follow-up, everything. Now in India, in Hyderabad, only 3 children, they got passport without any. Of course, we did lot of follow-up, everything, but they could get passports. That is with central government. Coming to state government, when they came out with portal to upload, to get transgender ID card, government people that doesn't know, we went and brought some awareness. Like that, my child got first card in Telangana, transgender ID card. Children, they want to, we are all expecting, they'll have to be away from the traditional business, like, sex work, begging, everything. We approached again government. They came forward, they did, library project, 2 batches of jute bags training program. And they supported the whole 1 year, giving them 15,600 rupees per month. They trained them. Out of around 15 members, today they are doing their businesses, stitching jute bags. Coming to health, we met health minister. They came forward. They inaugurated transgender clinic in government hospital. They started giving them hormones. They registered 5 trans men to do their surgeries also. These are a few activities we are doing both with state and central governments. And coming to MNCs, they are asking us to send resumes. We are forwarding their resumes to them. Cognizant, they recruited 4 members, Microsoft and Deloitte. All these people, they started recruiting them. Recruitments also were taking place. Then recently, Supreme Court, there was hearing was going on. As on behalf of a Queer Bond Parents Association, we sent open letter to CJI, requesting them to accept this marriage equality. These are the few things we are doing on behalf of parents, Queer Bond Parents Association, and also with few collectives from the community.
Thank you very much. Very important work. Janaki, I read your bio, and I remember one of the lines that was in there. It said, my daughter came out at a later stage in her life. In the beginning, we were a little bit afraid, and it took me some time to come out as a parent. What would you tell parents that have just started to walk the path that you're on?
Yeah, what would I tell parents whose children have just come out to them? I think just listen to them and respect them. Like she said, when we love somebody, you respect that person, and just be open and listen and learn from them. They know, whatever age they are, if they have come out to you, they know what they are saying. And second, what I learned is that find support groups. I come so far because I've started coming out as a parent only because I found the support group. And third, I think our love for our child is to help them flourish and thrive and not make them feel ashamed and, get into a corner and shrink. So if we remember that, and we remember that our love is there for helping them and us, it helps us too, because the minute I actually had a plan that every week I would come out to one person. I started with close friends. Family, of course, my family is all here. And and my daughter's partner, I always tell her to come. She's American, stands out in India, but I always ask her to come for every function and, be there with my daughter. So I think what we have to do is just be there, listen to them, and and our job, their job is that they have come out to us, and now it's our job to come out to family and friends, I think.
Wow. Beautiful. Nilakshi, I see that the microphone is already coming your way. Can you share a little bit about how it is for you to be the mother of a queer child, what you have experienced, what kind of obstacles you've run into, and how you overcame them?
Yeah, with me it was a little different because probably of my background of teaching English literature, because nearly half of the poets who I was teaching were queer, okay, especially the modernist poets and the novelists and the writers. So I had myself absolutely no inhibitions about a queer person, okay. In fact, I had very nice ideas about them, but I was also well informed enough to know about the pitfalls of their life. So I knew the good and the bad side. The bad meaning the ugly side of society, which does not accept them the way that they should, despite all their talent, despite the hard work that they were doing, despite all the love that they had for the world. So that was my fear, probably, So just because, just because I was a teacher, I was just as sensitive to the good and the negative aspect of being queer for a child. And so that colored my perception of her coming out, That colored my acceptance. I was afraid for her. I was also afraid for her because she was away from me when she sort of forcibly came out on Skype to me, because she was studying abroad and she was having a lot of, communication issues with us. So her aunts were there, both her aunts, as I mentioned earlier. That's why I set that background, that both my sister and my sister-in-law were abroad as family for her. So she had family support, but still it was difficult for her, and I didn't realize it at that time. So my word of advice, like Janki is saying, is to love them. It is also to give them time. Because my daughter was not ready to accept herself. Her self-acceptance took a long time, and we were in kind of, doubt about this, and we didn't ask her anything, but we knew that something was going on about her identity. We didn't know that she was bisexual. We assumed that she was lesbian. So we assumed a lot of things, So these are the things that often can happen as a challenge when you are confronting the reality that your child may be queer. Okay, so just give that person some time, give the child some time. Everyone deserves time to decide about themselves and their future, and your child no less. So because they are talented, because they are communicative, because they are doing well in their studies, etc., you think that they will be very forthcoming in this area as well. They need not. Okay? They need to be given space and time to discover their identity and find out who they are, and choose their time to share this information with you to the extent that they want to. So even today, my daughter tells me that these are some of the things that you cannot share, and I don't want to share. I don't want to share everything about her to everyone. But thing is that I didn't understand that, and that fear of misunderstanding or fear of lack of communication is something that haunts me even today. I feel that probably I've not done enough to keep channels of communication open. So it has made me cautious. It has made me a little careful, and it has taught me how to wait. Okay, there have been times when my daughter has not been able to communicate with me. Many of the queer children go through bouts of psychological adjustment during their lifetime, and this has happened to her. It has happened to all the four of us at home for different reasons that had nothing to do with her queerness. Okay, it has happened. We have taken help. We have taken help from counselors, and that is again another thing that I would like to mention here, that the role of a counselor cannot be undermined. Okay, to approach counselors and take help if you don't have any experience in this area and you think that you are breaking down or something like that. So yeah, I have learned to be patient. I have learned to accept, to understand that one can need help all through one's life in terms of counseling. That ek baar counseling kiya to bas ho gaya, why do you need that anymore? It's not like that. Okay, and that modern times being very difficult, it can happen to anyone. So these are some of the things that I have experienced as a parent of a queer child. I've also experienced a lot of curiosity, a lot of questions given in an oblique way where everyone asks, and about your other daughter, and what does she do? So questions coming at me aslant, asking about the well-being of my other daughter because her sexuality is now a known fact. I'm all over television and radio and newspapers and everywhere. So that's how I kind of let myself. Let others be aware of who I was, that I was a mother of a queer child. I didn't go tom-tomming about to my very, very large circle of friends and colleagues and students, but I was all over social media, so they got to know. I didn't have to tell anyone. Okay, but because of that, I still get, even today, questions. And I say, oh, she's very happy. Yeah, she's very happy. She lives in a beautiful house in wherever she does. And often I throw in with her partner, na? She lives with her partner and her mother. She's very happy, I'm so happy that she is at least, doing rather well. So that's how I do it, So I'm very confident. I'm really happy. And today I have a very, very, very nice feeling of satisfaction and even stronger love and confidence in her and her community of friends and other children like her, many of whom might be here in this audience, that they are going to win, they are going to do well, they're going to find their space under the sun, and we are all there for them. Any point, at any given time, I'm willing to fight for them in whatever capacity I can. Okay, with my pen, with my, with my speech, and in whatever way that I can. Yeah, with my visibility on the streets when I walk the Pride Walk with them, or however. So we all Mama Bears are with you, and you're going to do well. That's what I want to say.
Thank you. I think that was a very beautiful answer. And I want to give the chance to the audience to see if there's someone who has a question. Yeah.
I have two questions. One is, after being in these spaces and learning so much about queer people, have you ever questioned your identities? Or have you ever come to a juncture where you have sat with that question? And how do you think the work that you're doing right now is reaching other intersections of marginalized communities? Like it could be class, caste, religious minorities. So I'd like to know that. Thank you.
Two very good questions. Is there anyone who wants to share something on the first question? Have you ever doubted your own identity?
Yes, I have been questioning my identity, and I had a feeling of being genderless at points in my youth, but I don't think it must have been that. It must have been something quite different. But I didn't discover that aspect of my identity. But I do feel that there is this strong instinct in all sensitive beings. There is this strong instinct which we sometimes don't discover at the given time. And if we did, then there would be more of the so-called 20%. There is actually more, I think, 30 to 35% of queer people in the world. Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else?
So I think some 7 or 8 years back, when my oldest was about 12, we were speaking about gender, and he says, do you know that it's not just two genders? And he didn't know the term binary. He says, it's not just two. You can't just put us in two. It's a spectrum, Mama. And I said, oh, okay. But that got me thinking because, like I said earlier, I think when we were growing up, we did not have the vocabulary and the exposure to even understand it. So we learnt about binary ways of being. And in this discussion, then there were times in which I thought, do I need to question anything? Am I really who I am? So I did question, but then I do believe that I am where I am as a cishet woman, and that's where I am. But I did question, that's the first one. The answer to your first question. But my answer to your second question is, yes, in the work that I do work with bringing accessible wellness to people across, all abilities and disabilities because of my experience with my brother who's deaf, also because I train yoga teachers in Ayurveda and yoga as well. But I also speak and I also write and I'm also very opinionated, and I'm also very sarcastic and funny when I want to be. Also very tactful. I think all of these qualities help in my writing because, like Nilakshi just said, when you want to fight or stand up for something, you don't really have to fight visibly. You can fight with whatever you have as your skill. You write for what you believe is right for an opinion. You write for the people. I write for the people who otherwise do not have a voice. I write my experiences for people, not just in gender or sexuality, but across different experiences, who otherwise may not have the words or the experience to share. But just in that sharing, it reaches people across different marginalized, minoritized communities as well, both in terms of gender, in terms of access, abilities, neurotypical or atypical, you name it, because we have that in us. And the moment we stand up and voice ourselves, then we voice it for others. So people who may not be heard otherwise, at least feel heard and seen in the process. So we show up for who we want to be, and the world just resonates with that and say, okay, someone's heard me and I feel heard. I think so.
Hi, good evening.
Sorry, I just wanted to answer her last question, thoda sa, just a little bit. Yeah, so I'm sort of frequently shifting base to Kolkata, frequently. I mean, I just keep traveling between Kolkata and Bombay, and there's a lot of work that I'm doing with Bengali-speaking LGBT community, and I think that that's very important for me to both take away the knowledge and the experiences they have, as well as communicate back to them the experiences of being LGBT in Mumbai. Whatever little I can share. Yeah, so it is happening.
Thank you. There was another question?
Yeah, hi, good evening. First of all, thank you so much for being amazing, being you. So I have a very personal question rather than advice. So I've been trying to come out to my mom for quite a while, but I'm unable to do so. So I'm out to my brother. So he suggested that you are out to me, that's more than sufficient. But like my mom, she's very social. She's the president of her cultural association and all. So, and her health has been a concern for the entire family. So he suggested that her social and physical health is much more important than your orientation for now. And you have come out to me, that's sufficient. But I believe that this hidden self of mine is making me distant. Her love, I'm unable to share everything which I want to. So I would like to understand from you, how shall I start conditioning her? Because I shared some articles with her, but she pays attention, but we never really came on a common ground to discuss those aspects. So I just want to understand, how can I start conditioning her and take that first step? Because I'm really scared if that impacted her health, I will not be able to forgive myself for that. So.
Thank you for your very courageous question. Is there a mama bear here who has some tips?
Yeah. I think you should come out to your mother. And because once the child comes out to his mother, and I feel that is the ultimate thing he has to do, you know. Coming out to your father or other friends, it's okay. But coming out to mother is something very special. And don't think she will, probably you are underestimating her, probably she knows you are gay, and she just wants that to, you know, to listen from your mouth. So be honest to her and come out to her. And rest, I think everything will fall into its place. And you will also not have this guilt feeling. So my advice is that. Anybody wants to add to that?
Suddenly, slowly you can say about some stories like that. And because her health condition is not that good, so immediately you can't come out, and slowly you have to come out. That is also that.
Like you can tell her that you had been to this program today. Tell her. And give her the link, YouTube link of Mama Bear.
Maybe someday I'll make her speak to you guys.
Oh, sure.
Yes,
we are
more than
always
happy
there
to.
here.
Thank you.
And I always believe, you know, it's like a cat story. Cat closes its eyes and it feels the whole world is dark. That's what your mom is doing. She doesn't want to come face to face with the truth. She wants to live in her own world. That's the main thing. So I think you should take your time, but you know your mother better than all of us. So take your time, but I think you should must come out to your mom.
And I think to add to that, like everyone said, your mom might know, but I would say go with your gut also. If you feel safe enough, and I don't think anyone feels actually very safe when it's coming out at that time. There is that moment of vulnerability, I guess. Since you came out to your brother, I think I'm in that position where my sibling came out to me, right? So I think your mom might surprise you also by just understanding and say, I was waiting for you to tell me. Or it might take a couple of times. But until you get to that, I think by the end of the panel discussion, where I was sitting, I don't mind giving you a hug. Yeah. I'm good at those.
Thank you. Any other questions from the audience?
I had one more question. So first of all, thank you for the Swikar group. My mom, from trying to convert me to a heterosexual to now being one of my strongest allies, I think the Swikar group played a major part in it. So thank you for that. But my question was also for fathers. Do you also see mothers being more a part of the Swikar group and the father not being so into it, fathers not talking about sexuality?
Very important question. It was actually on my list in case there weren't any questions coming from the audience, so thank you. The male perspective.
Yeah, I just feel that, the father tries to not be very instinctive or instinctual about it. The father tries to tread cautiously, but once he accepts, he's deeply, it's an immersive experience for him. He is then able to influence everyone in the family. Also, there is a certain generational difference between the slightly older fathers and the younger fathers. We find that more and more among the younger generation, children who are now, say, 16, 17, they are coming out to their parents together, or they are coming out to the father first, okay? So it is changing, the trend is changing. These two things I definitely have observed, that it's a much less instinctive experience or response for the father, so it takes a little time. But once it is done, there is absolutely no looking back. And we have examples of that here. And we have seen that there are many, many more fathers who are members of Swikar today, and they join as a couple. Father and mother have joined together. But earlier, when we started out in 2017, there were, I think, 7 mothers and 3 fathers initially in their group when they started. I joined a few months later. So there has been a difference. There is increasingly more participation from fathers.
I'll add a little bit of
Anita,
tips
if you can keep it very short.
Guys.
I got a cue that
very
there's
short.
one question left.
Very, very quickly. I think there are 3 factors which you need to convince a man. So probably, I'm coming from that shoes and then the other shoes. I know both the shoes now. So what I can tell you is, firstly, the fear. That has to be taken care of. The second is the monetary factor. The third thing is about the knowledge and the information that you can pass over to the society. That's very, very important. So once you address these 3, more or less you have your father in your control or your mother in your control. So if you don't have any of these 3 to assure them something, and you will come in one day in the newspaper, so whatever the news is, it should be fine.
Thank you, Anita. One last question from the audience.
Hi, thank you so much for coming and sharing your stories. I almost had tears in my eyes when you expressed saying that you're happy your daughter found her family, because it's exactly what I'm going through. My daughter's 13 and is very young, but very clearly identifies with her sexuality. When she started to express herself, the biggest fear, because I think as parents, we are younger parents, we're accepting. We know that our generation, our extended families, they are accepting. But the biggest fear I have is, how will I tell the grandparents? And I really want her to live with pride. So I don't want her to hide it from anybody. So could you share some tips on how did you come out, Janaki, to the older generation who won't even, that's not even in their scope of discussion, right? So
So I'll give you an example. So I come from a very traditional Tamil family. My mother-in-law was probably, she was 83 when my daughter came out to us. And like I said, I wanted to be like you feel, right? You want to them to live with pride, and us as well. We don't want to be hiding things from them. Just told her that this is what it is. I don't think she understood completely, but I will say one thing is that she just passed away 1.5 months ago, and my daughter and her partner were there at that time. And she always asked about the partner. She just, to be a marriage, or, to believe that that could be a traditional marriage was not something that she could understand. But otherwise, she would be like always very supportive. So you never know, they could really be surprised. You'll be surprised at how open they can be.
My mother-in-law, she passed away 1 year back. When I expressed to her, she's not a boy, she's a girl now. So what do? We can't do anything now. Why don't you look for boy? Because the whole science she doesn't know, but she could understand. Now she is not boy, she is a girl. But youngsters, they didn't accept. Till today, no one will ask about my daughter. But 85 years old lady, she gave me, yes, okay, what will you do? We can't do anything. Look for a boy. They will understand. Definitely.
Yeah, my mom was 91 now and still alive. And when we placed the ad, it was in 2015. Her only requirement was that boy or girl, it doesn't matter to me. But the boy, I know it's going to be a boy, and he should be from the IR community. That was her main concern, and for which I got a lot of flakes from the social media. I was unfriended by many of the friends, because how can I be casteist? So her thing was, she said, simple, I've accepted your son. I only want an IR boy, that's it. So that's how accepting she was. And even today, she is accepting.
Thank you very much. Please give a very warm round of applause to our panelists. I think we touched on some very important points. The need to find support in your groups that you formed, taking your time, being there, and being there through adversity. You're still sitting on a stage tonight sharing your stories that are also about love. So I think it fits very beautifully with the subtitle of the Mama Bears film that we're about to watch. Thank you again.